Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Valrico here, and today I'm bringing you some Kingdom Come Deliverance gameplay. Now, after approximately 39 to 40 hours of playing this game, I finally beat the game, got to the end, after a few delays, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I finally got to the end of the game, and this was a hell of a game. A really solid game. Now, the ending, I'm not going to spoil it, but it wasn't as good as I thought it should have ended. How the game should have ended, but it is what it is. Overall, the game was a solid game. I'm really glad that this game did not have a bunch of dungeons and dragons and mages and all this other jive shit. I liked it just the way it was. Knights, archers, shit like that. A straight up medieval game where it's all about the sword play, and there's no, you don't gotta worry about dragons and other bullshit in the game. It is a realistic take on the medieval days. I think it's in the Czech Republic, but the game was great. Now, in my opinion, I still think that The Witcher 3 is the best RPG game that I've ever played, but I think this will come in as second best RPG game that I've ever played, which there's no shame in being second to Witcher. I still think The Witcher is the king of the RPG. So first things first, during my first playthrough, because there was actually 2 playthroughs on this game, the first one got deleted. I don't know what happened. I updated the game and my saves weren't there. And I don't know what happened. Honestly, don't know what happened. Then I started looking online, and it happened to other people that their saves got deleted on this game. So, I was like, I don't know, 10, 12 hours in. I was pretty deep into the game. I get on, and now my saves are gone. So I'm like, oh, hell no. Fuck this shit. I'm not playing through all this shit again. I deleted the game. Then I was salty, and I thought about it. I started re-downloading the game, and then, I was like, fuck this. I'm just gonna download a saved game, with money and armor and shit like that, so I don't have to go and collect all that shit again and do all these different raids and all this stuff, all these different, I spent like 2 hours just hunting and selling it to the market to get my money up to buy good armor. And then, all the hours of training with Captain Bernard, which you have to do in this game in order to win sword fights, or you'll get smashed all the time. I did all that shit, and then the game got deleted. So I was like, oh, hell no, we're not doing that again. I'm just going to download a saved game, and it came with like 500,000 gold or whatever, groschen, I think that's called, but it's gold basically. This was an epic battle right here. They shoot fire arrows into this compound, and then we go in there and slay everybody. But yeah, I just downloaded a save with all the armor and all the money in the world, the best swords in the game, so I don't have to go hunting for the sword that I had went and hunted for previously. And then the save got deleted, so it made the game super enjoyable. Now I will say this: the one thing about this game is the combat is difficult until you train, and then once you train, the combat becomes way too easy, and you can just waltz right through people like nothing's going on. There is no risk of dying because your armor, you hardly don't even lose health, because your armor will save you in a lot of instances when you're getting hit. The swords, just like in real life, would just bounce off the armor. Unless you're getting attacked by 2 guys with maces, you're fine. You're not concerned with dying. You'll be all right. And then on top of that, you have, I think it's called Revenant or something like that. The perk that allows you to regenerate health. It's literally, unless you're complete garbage at this game, you won't die for the rest of the game. So that's one thing I didn't like about this game, was that it wasn't even hard. Like once you get your stats up, you don't even have to worry about dying. It's not hard. Your stamina is ridiculous. You could just keep look at how many times I was just hacking a sword over and over again. I didn't have to worry about running out of look, I have half a stamina bar, and I've been hacking away for at least 15 seconds, just swinging the sword over and over and over again. I liked all of the characters in the game. I didn't really have a character I didn't like. One thing about this game I like is that you can just complete a mission however you want to complete it. Like, there was one mission, I won't spoil it, but you have to get into a monastery or whatever and become a monk. And that means you have to relinquish all your weapons, but you're supposed to kill a guy while you're in there. So basically how I did it was I bribed a guy with food, because he was like, give me food and I'll give you lockpicks. So I give him food, he gives me lockpicks. I unlock the door, go to my chest where I put my weapons, suit up and boot up, come back in there while they're like 30 guys are in this church praying, and I just go in there and chop this guy to pieces and run away from the guards. And it was funny because you can't pay the guards off for murder, so I had to sit in jail for 7 days. It was ridiculous. But that is really cool that they have this kind of realism where, you know, you kill like 3 or 4 people in the town, they'll know it's you, and they'll be wanting to arrest you. So anyways, I think this is the first game that Warhorse, I think it's called Warhorse Studios or Warhorse Productions, made ever. And it was a solid first outing. It was a solid game. It's not the greatest thing I've ever played in the history of life, but it's not trash. It's just, it's a solid game. Great graphics though, by the way. Great graphics, like photorealistic graphics. Especially when you're out in the woods and you're just wandering around. Really nice graphics. The trees. You could tell that they are a studio that's based in that area, because they definitely went out and scouted. I heard that this, by the way, hold on. I heard that the game was based upon like an area that is like literally you could take that map and actually walk those roads in real life. They're still there. The buildings are still there. But anyways, that's pretty cool. Yeah, but the woods, the trees were not like big pine trees. They were, you know, some trees were thick, but most trees were slender. Like the bark was kind of slender, and that's what it looked like there today. So they definitely obviously went out and, you know, what would they call it? It's called something like in when you make movies, it's called like principal photography or something like that. It's when they go to an area, it's like they scout the location before they start filming in that area, and that's pretty much, I believe, what they did with this game. Before they started developing it, they went and you know, the armor looks official. You know, everything is very, very realistic. If you wanted to play a Medieval Knights game, I would say this is the one you want to play. Now, on to the combat. I think the weakest part of this game is the combat. Everything else is on point for the most part, except for the bug where I got my fucking story deleted, which I had to play those fucking missions over again, which was annoying. But the combat is clunky. It is not crisp like it is on For Honor. Like, people, when they see this game and they think it's going to play like For Honor as far as the sword fighting goes, or whatever you want to use, mace, axe, whatever, it doesn't play like that. It is all about baiting somebody into countering. You basically have to bait your enemy into swinging at you so you can counter them and repost and hit them back. Normally they'll just stand there and look at you. They'll just look at you, and it gets kind of frustrating, especially in the early parts of the game, when you just want to like look at this. Oh, this was another weird bug. Like, look at this shit. I couldn't. They wanted you to stay on the path. I wanted to go around these guys and hit them from behind, because I noticed that was a strategy. Was when these guys were fighting my guys, I could go behind them and start stabbing them all in the back. But back to the combat, it doesn't play like For Honor. As far as I'm concerned, For Honor, with this particular system where you swing in a certain direction, and another thing also, For Honor, when you defend, you have to defend in the direction that they're swinging. So if they're swinging low, you have to put your sword low in order to defend. I haven't played in a long time, but I remember that's what it was. When I played the beta, you had to defend low if they swung low, and defend high if they swung high. But on this, you just press the block button and try to get a perfect block / parry, and then you can hit them back with a repost and basically just destroy the guy. So that's what it ends up becoming. It doesn't really feel like an actual sword fight. It just kind of feels like a clunky fist fight. It's pretty much what it is. And that's probably what Medieval Knight fighting was. Just a clunky fist fight with weapons. Because that's exactly what it felt like. But like I said, once you get further in the game, you know, it just becomes super easy. At the beginning, it's actually very, very hard. Very, very challenging. I'm more of a hack and slash player as far as fighting goes. I just want to get in there and start fucking people up, slicing people in half, dismembering people, you know. But this game is more kind of like Dark Souls or Bloodborne. There's like a stamina bar. If you run out of stamina, that when they hit you, it does like triple or double damage when you're low on stamina. So you got to be careful and pick your shots. But it is really hard at the beginning of the game, and that's why you got to train. A lot of people getting salty about this game, and I was there. I was with them. I'm like, why am I getting destroyed by basic motherfuckers? In my head, I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to beat main dudes. I'm not gonna be able to beat knights if I'm getting destroyed by bandits with no armor. I'm just getting murked by random dudes with axes, fucking getting hit and losing half my health. That shit was annoying. So what you gotta do is, you know, train with the Captain Bernard, or there's a few other people in different cities, I think, where you just gotta train with them and get better, because if you don't, you're gonna get wrecked. By getting better, I mean you gotta get your strength and your stamina and your vitality and shit up, so that way you're able to, your agility, I think it's not called stamina, it's called agility. You want to get that up so you can swing 15 times without losing energy, instead of swinging twice and just being already tired. So you're able to fight multiple enemies with ease, instead of it just being, you know, you could barely beat one guy. Like I remember during the beginning of my first playthrough, I could barely beat two guys. Like I was struggling to beat a bandit camp of 2, just getting smashed. I would say before I go into the bandit camp and die 3 times before I would actually beat them fools. I was getting fucked up. But all in all, hopefully you enjoyed the video. I think I'm gonna let the rest of the gameplay play out. It was about like 20 minutes of footage of just big huge battles that I thought were pretty cool, that I should probably upload to YouTube on my channel, because there was some pretty epic moments during the playthrough. But yeah, solid game, solid first outing. I think that if they make a sequel of this game, or like a part 2 or something, or like, that was a weird bug. He was like, you could hear fighting in the background, but he was just up there standing around shimmy shaking. There's a lot of bugs in this game, by the way. A lot of bugs, but nothing game breaking, because I think they fixed those when the game first came out. But there's a lot of weird bugs, like people's faces wouldn't render in, and there'd be fucking no wrinkles on their face. It would just be a blank face, and their hair would barely render in. Just weird shit like that. This game is pretty clunky, but it's their very first game, so you give them a pass. I believe it's their very first game they ever made out of that studio. So you know, you can't freaking bash them too hard. It's not like EA made this game. They would get crushed, because, you know, they have made many games, and you can't be showing up with 30,000 bugs like this game had at the beginning. So this game, like I said, pretty solid game. I had a good time playing it. Finally beat it. I was glad it was over, because there's no such thing as a game that's too long, but there is such thing as, you know, being fatigued with a game when you want to just beat it and get to the end. There's another texture fuck up right there, like I just talked about earlier. His fucking armor didn't load in, but whatever. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of the gameplay. Hit the like button. Tell me what you think about this game in the comment section if you ever played it before. I'm playing on PC, by the way, so hopefully you enjoyed the gameplay. Hit the like button, subscribe button, gab.ai/Valrico, twitter.com/Valrico, youtube.com/Valrico, and I'm out of this bitch. Peace.
Those bastards want to destroy our trebuchet.
Well,
The damage isn't too serious.
so we can shoot.
Not just yet.
Sir, what are we waiting for?
You've heard his threats, Robard. Do you want him to kill Radzik and my wife? We have to consider all our options.
And it would be a shame to destroy the castle, too. But how do we get that rat out of there?
Sir, I might have a solution. What about exchanging hostages? He was the captain at Vranjik, and he brought Istvan's reinforcements here. He seems to be on very, intimate terms with Toth. He might be able to tell us something. And he might even be as valuable to his lord as Lady Stephanie and my father are to us.
You're your father's son, by God.
You're a godsend, lad. You're right. We'll interrogate this whore son, and then decide what to do next. Come to my tent when you've rested.